In 1999, Randy Bass described a close relationship between the shift to seeing teaching as an activity over time and a belief in the visibility and viability of teaching problems that can be investigated as scholarship and not merely for the purpose of fixing them. What does the term making learning visible mean? Making learning visible is more than rote memorization or the feeding back of ideas. It involves tasks requiring higher-level thought processes. It also involves learning to communicate this thinking through various forms of digital documentation. How does one make learning visible? Students make their learning visible to themselves, to their peers, and to their facilitators by communicating their understanding through clickers and polls, evaluating trends and patterns present in word clouds, expressing their thoughts and findings with concept maps, and demonstrating their skills in an e-portfolio. How does visible learning help teachers evaluate students? Making students' thinking visible gives teachers an opportunity to determine what students know, believe, and feel, identify preconceptions, misconceptions, and factual errors, assess the quality of student understanding, refine student thinking, help students reflect on their own thought processes, improve student metacognitive and self-regulation skills, evaluate and improve instruction, assess student ability to transfer learning to new situations, and assess the relationships between key concepts and interaction skills. Revealing student thinking using technology is not a new idea. The technology improved, and the slate grew into the blackboard, which is still in use in many places around the world today. The smartboard is a modern interactive slate. Around 1972, the Scantron became a popular form of automating the grading process. It allowed teachers to quickly evaluate students' factual knowledge, even for large classes. The Scantron was useful for grading multiple choice and true-false questions. It was criticized for not being able to make student thinking and thought process visible. It was not a metacognitive tool that helped students self-regulate or learn how to learn. Clickers. Student response systems, clickers, allow students in the classroom to instantly provide feedback, answer questions, and vote in response to questions posed. Each student uses a clicker, a portable handheld device that allows them to vote or make a selection by pressing a button. A receiver, which is connected to a computer's USB port, collects the results sent through the radio waves from the students' clickers. Polls. Many free applications have replaced expensive audience response hardware, such as clickers. Smartphones and standard web technology have reduced the need for clickers. Polling software gathers live responses from classrooms, homes, and many other locations. Polling software works through texting, via the web, and on Twitter. With Google Forms, it is very easy to create polls. Poll Everywhere and SurveyMonkey are two other popular polling applications. Word clouds. Wordle is a tool for generating word clouds from text that is input to the application. The clouds give greater prominence to words that appear more frequently in the source text. This is a useful tool for examining trends and patterns in language production. Any text can be used as the source for word clouds. Teachers or students can print word clouds or save them to the Wordle gallery to share. Concept mapping. For centuries, concept maps have been used to show how ideas are connected. Concept maps are diagrams that visually represent how people organize facts and ideas that define their understanding of a topic. Charles Darwin used concept maps to demonstrate his ideas. Concept maps are sometimes called mind maps when just one idea is presented. This is usually a one-page diagram, and it can help with brainstorming. It can also be used as memory notes for a speech. Here is a mind map for grammar. Children can learn to make graphical mind maps at a very early age. They can eventually integrate text with images to make concepts more memorable when learning. This helps students organize their ideas and communicate their knowledge. Ideas radiate from a central concept, and graphics are sometimes used. Concepts are usually enclosed in circles or boxes, and the relationship between ideas is defined by a line that connects the two. According to Angelo and Cross, concept maps can be used in student assessment to discover what preconceptions and prior knowledge students bring to a topic, use maps as student feedback for shaping the direction of lessons, develop maps as a small group assessment project, and ask students to write explanatory essays based on their maps. E-portfolios. An e-portfolio is a collection of student work that is displayed digitally. It represents a progression of student skills over time. This collection of work often contains writing samples, still images, video, audio, and more. E-portfolios provide evidence of a student's developing creativity and productivity. This is one of the most useful tools in making student learning visible. An e-portfolio is an excellent vehicle for project-based learning. Project-based learning. Project-based learning, or PBL, is an approach to learning which relies on authentic projects that motivate students to take control of their own learning. The projects address a real-world question or problem. This type of learning requires an in-depth analysis and higher-level thinking. According to pblonline.org, project-based learning is a systematic teaching method that engages students in learning essential knowledge and life-enhancing skills through an extended student-influenced inquiry process structured around complex, authentic questions and carefully designed products and tasks.
On March 24th, you're going to stand in front of your peers, you're going to stand in front of your parents, you're going to stand in front of a panel of engineers. You will have data, you will have graphs, and you're going to knock the socks off people. From now,
Seattle teacher Scott McComb is outlining a project to his 9th grade physics class that will have them creating, building, and testing various wing structures that they will design in teams. McComb is part of a growing group of educators who believe project learning is the most effective way to teach.
I'll try right now so you know how to do it.
When you think about project-based learning, learning that results in demonstrations of performance, real tasks that have brought challenges to students to solve, you can see that it's in context with the ways in which kids have to be able to be functioning adults.
It's quite an improvement for us. Remember our first wing didn't even hold water?
Project learning is a hands-on, student-directed activity in which students create something that demonstrates what they have learned, whether it's a website, a play...
Can you believe this arrogance? They think they can stop us. Nothing can stop us.
...or a wing design portfolio.
First thing you have to do is to give up the idea of curriculum. Curriculum meaning you have to learn this on a given day. Replace it by a system where you learn this where you need it. So that means you're going to put kids in a position where they're going to use the knowledge that they get.
Projects involve in-depth investigations of subject matter which are often guided by professional experts who enrich and supplement the teacher's knowledge.
We do this in the real world too, and it's very cool. And I'm hoping to show you how cool it is.
I like doing hands-on projects more, just because I feel I learn better by learning from my own experiences. When we were doing the wing project, I learned, like, our first wing was really bad, and then our third wing we did really well. Oh, I'm so proud of us.
Current research shows that project learning can be more effective than traditional instruction in increasing academic achievement. It is also effective in helping students understand, apply, and retain information. Other benefits include building skills like critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Students who work on projects show increased motivation and engagement in their studies.
Our task was to create a high-efficiency, low-weight wing that, when tested, it would show the values you'd want for a real wing.
These kids, the way they present themselves, they're articulate, they know what they're about, they know what they've learned, they've obviously been able to work together. And in a situation like this, for 9th graders to pull off something like that is absolutely remarkable.
And here's our data for our wings. This would be the first round, would be 1, 2, and 3, then 4, 5, and 6.
For more information about what works in public education, go to edutopia.org.
We have a lot of visitors coming down from both in the school and outside of the school, and they're going to really want to hear what you have to say. You're going to bring your social studies notebook and articles down there. If you don't have your notebook handy, just be prepared to show them all the articles on the laptop. And also, you're going to want to show them your Google Maps on the public art sites, okay? And all of those things you have to be prepared to talk about. Also, we don't want you to forget those two guiding questions. How does art reflect the community? And the other one is, how does science, math, and engineering connect to art?
It's called expedition learning for a reason. You know, the classic expeditions, you're out with a group of people trying to climb a mountain. And the goal and all of the consequences along the way are real. It starts to rain. Like, that happens. Your computer dies. That happens. You know, these things go on. But you're committed to this end objective together. So the relationships become important. And the connections become important. And when you offer someone the opportunity to engage in something real, there is nothing more exhilarating.
At the beginning of every expedition, we usually look at a district calendar to see, what we're going to be doing for the fall.
We're talking about a schedule here at King Middle School where a team of 5 or 6 experts in learning, your teachers, can say, in order to pull off this particular project at this particular stage, we need to design a whole new schedule this week.
The first one sounded fine.
If we're working in the world and we're in any kind of engineering or design process, or we're editing movies, nobody stops after 40 minutes, puts everything down, and goes on to do something else.
This is where we start as a staff, is creating the model before we ask the kids to do it. So essentially we kind of figure out what exactly we're going to build. So here's a good example. There's like a science piece around metabolism, and that's a science content piece. Here's a math piece around size of their bacteria. This is a multimedia piece where the kids have drawn their work.
The scientists they were all like, whoa, sure, we'll come. So they're all very excited to do this.
In expeditionary learning, we love to develop relationships between the students and community members, because the excitement that it generates in the students deepens their learning and lengthens their retention.
You have to help me with the pronunciation.
Okay, Pseudomonas aurantiaca.
Aurantiaca. This is going to take us to where the maps are in Google, and then we go to My Maps. Students are working with Google Maps, and they're identifying all of the public art pieces that exist in the city of Portland, so that these different public art sites are going to be connected as a walking tour.
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm Sarah. And this is Kinetic Conundrums.
Today we're out here taking photos of already existing public art that we're studying in social studies, and so that we can make art proposals in language arts and then create our own MIDI model of public art in tech ed.
We don't learn about things, we do things. It's a lot different than saying, yeah, I can do that, I understand how that works, but when they actually have to do it, there's a huge learning process. There's a light bulb or an aha moment.
Drill that hole out right in the middle.
This class is fun because they teach us how to be creative and to make our own designs, so we will have that experience as we grow along.
It's an incredible value that I think is lacking, where they don't have a class like this, or like an art class or music, or something where the kids actually have to do something, get their hands dirty and make stuff.
We get visitors from lots of schools. We get the people here from expeditionary learning schools, and they'll come in and they'll look at what we're doing here at King Middle School, and they'll say, God, if only we had one-to-one computing, and then we could do what you guys are doing. And then when the schools that are interested in going one-to-one come here, thinking it was going to be all about giving kids computers, but they discover it's really all about project-based learning. And they say, if only we had project-based learning, we could do that too, but we don't.
Let's hear it.
I say the same thing to both groups. You should have both. There's no excuse for not having both anymore.
Last night, when I put all the sculptures, so there's 80 sculptures in the front of my room, and it was really amazing thinking of where we started and where we ended up. Just the variety of ideas and the ingenuity you had. You should be really proud. It's just so cool to look at them all together, because it's really very cool.
What do you mean you did the math to figure out the balance?
Well, this one, which is 2 inches by 2 inches.
Yep.
So I did half of that.
It's pretty exciting to see the kids get engaged in the work that they're doing, to take ownership of the work they're doing, feel responsible for it, and then be able to talk about the things that they're learning. So that you have this side balancing this side.
Sometimes I think we get too concerned about the standards, and there's an assumption behind a lot of that we actually know what our kids are going to face in the future. And I'm not very convinced of that. And so the pieces about creativity, cooperation, problem solving, those are going to be there. And so the kids getting those here is crucial and key.
It's a weeping willow, and it's called Miss Lincoln Tree. The name was named after Lincoln Park, where I want to put this.
And these will blow in the wind?
Yeah. It has a little bit of aesthetics and
has a lot of
history-based.
aesthetics.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just got my first vote.
Oh, thank you.
For more information about what works in public education, go to edutopia.org.